Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and in this video what I want to do is talk about Python FastAPI. Now Python FastAPI is a new micro web framework or web framework for Python. So other frameworks, like you have like full batteries included frameworks like Django, you have sort of the Ruby on Rails-esque Masonite, you have the minimalist, more expressy type Flask. This is going to be more like that. The cool thing about FastAPI is that it's supposed to be one, super fast, thus the name FastAPI, but it takes advantage of a lot of the more newer asynchronous syntax in Python. So I thought I'd give it a try it out. Okay. So what I have done is I'm going to create a new project. I want to create a new project. So I'm going to just create a new project 2 folder. And I'm going to cd into that folder. And actually, first let me go trigger my virtual environment. So I have made a virtual environment with make virtual env. Work on FastAPI. There we go. So I am on that virtual environment. cd into project 2. I am going to create a server. So touch server.py. Okay. And let's open up the file, server.py. Import FastAPI. Let me just take a look at my previous example that I just did a little while ago. Okay, FastAPI from FastAPI, got it. So let's do it FastAPI from FastAPI. Cool. Okay, so that imports the library. Let me just make sure I did the syntax right. From FastAPI, import FastAPI. Oh, that's what happens when you do node all the time. I'm used to syntax in one way. So it's really from FastAPI, or from FastAPI, because I thought Python library names are always lowercase. Import FastAPI. So that brings in the FastAPI. And if you've used micro web frameworks before, they generally always kind of start out the same way, where you have to create like an object that is sort of your server. And it's the same thing here. So I'll just do a variable called app equals FastAPI. Okay, and then this essentially creates my server object. Okay, let me see what's like here. Unable to import FastAPI. It works. I've tried it. It just complains. Okay, and then here we're going to be using decorators. Okay, so if you're not familiar with decorators, all a decorator really is a function, but you get to use it in a sort of annotation type style. And basically what it does, it passes whatever's after the annotation or decorator into the function. So basically I'm saying, okay, hey, I want to make a get route for this route, and then the controller function is the function I define right after it. This is the same pattern you see in Flask. This is the same pattern you see in many of the TypeScript based frameworks, Java Spring. Okay, you use the decorator and then you pass in the function for that particular route. Okay, so let me go back to our other project here and do that. So at app.get, because app is our server. So again, if I called this something else, it'd be something else, but app.get. And then the route I want to define is slash. Okay. And then I define a function. And we define async functions here, which again, that's a newer thing to me, but so we have to use the word async before def. So it's async def, and it doesn't really matter what you call it. So we'll just call it cheese, just to show you like the name of the function doesn't particularly matter. Okay, and then we can just say we return the string hello world to start off with. Okay, and there we go. We've created our first FastAPI function. Now, if you follow the directions over there at the FastAPI documentation, they don't only have you install FastAPI, but they also have you install something called Uvicorn. Okay, so I'll just show that real quick. So if I do pip list, okay, we should see there it is, Uvicorn. Okay, and then basically what you're doing is you have to do like, it's Uvicorn, and then we're telling it what file to run by just passing in the name of the file, which is server. So we're passing in server, and I think it's like 2 colons app. So I'm saying, hey, run the server.py and then run the app application object. Like that's the object it's going to use to run the server. And then and things like dash dash reload, so that way it reloads anytime we make a change. Okay, what doesn't it like? Oh, that's right. This is not JavaScript. This is Python. So it's cool in there. There we go. Okay, attribute app not found in module server. Okay, I think I might have gotten that backwards. Module app. Module server. The module should be the file, the folder name actually. So C. So maybe it was supposed to be this. Project 2 app module, yeah, 2. Let me just refer to the documentation. I always like to try to see if I can do it without looking at the docs, but let's look at the docs. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Where's that quick start part? First steps, here we go. Okay, main app. Okay. So yeah, I was doing the right thing. What do I get? FastAPI, return. Let me see. Server app, and then what's the flag reload? Let me just double check that. Yep. Ah, but it's 1 colon. That's... There we go. Okay, so that's working. And it's going to be automatically serving it on port 8000 unless we decided to change it, which I'm not going to do right now. So localhost. Again, localhost just refers to your local computer, and the port that I want to check out at is 8000 because that's what it says. And there's our hello world route. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, and then if you wanted to do like use a URL param, that's also pretty straightforward. So I can just, all you do is you use curly brackets, so I can say cheese. Okay, and then basically what happens here is I define a parameter called cheese, and then basically it sees that that URL param is named cheese, so it automatically passes it as the cheese parameter, as the cheese argument. So now if I do that, I can just say return cheese, and let's try it out. So let's say I did this / hello. Pizza. So we can do URL params. Same thing with URL queries. So if I were to pass in, let's say, bread. Now there is no bread param in the URL. So then what I could do is I put in a query. So we'll say query bread equals rye. Didn't like that. Let's take a look at the error. Oh, I need to find the, I have to still have to define the parameter. Okay, so there we go. So even though I don't have a param, I still need to have a parameter in the function to recognize that. So if I hit refresh, and there you go, so there's rye. Okay, because what it'll do is it'll match up any query parameters. Basically, it matches everything up with the name of different arguments or name of different parameters in your function definition. So any data you expect to come in, you got to have a parameter to kind of receive it. It's just a cool way of doing it. Okay, I mean, I'm mostly used to Express and how kind of Express does things. So, and I've kind of done a little bit with Go, where generally you have like a context object that you pull stuff out of, which is also kind of how you do it in Koa in JavaScript. But yeah, that's the kind of like basically what you would do. And then after that, you would just kind of connect your ORM. You build out the rest of your app like you would build out any other app by bringing in an ORM to connect to a database, and then you create routes that pull data from that database, and you know, then maybe you set up JWT, but otherwise it's pretty straightforward. Like actually, I like this quite a bit. I found this pretty easy to use. And yeah, no. So I like this. So I'll probably be doing some more fast API content in the future. But I just figured, everybody else is doing fast API videos, I would do one as well and show you guys fast API. So this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Have a great day and enjoy. And I'll probably be doing maybe more Python content in general, because I've done a lot of JavaScript content over the last year. So I'm gonna start branching out to some of the other languages and giving you more content there. So see you guys later on.